Hello, viewers. Excuse me. Hello, viewers, and welcome to this edition of the Half Hour Wrestling Podcast, episode number 5. That should have came out last week, but I was sick last week, so I could not do it. We are here with number 5, and we've got a pretty decent Half Hour Wrestling Podcast here today on Unitards. Whatever. Back to where we were. We have a pretty good podcast. We go after this past Sunday, which was USW Caution. We go now into this upcoming Sunday, which is WWE Hell in a Cell. A lot has happened in the past week. I went to my first NEW event, which is Northeast Wrestling, for those of you who are not aware of what NEW stands for. I went to that fight. I went to that show. It was Autumn Ambush, and I watched the Hardys go up against the Young Bucks, and obviously the Hardy Boys won. Then the Sunday afterwards, I ended up retaining my championship against Lone Wolf. And now this past Wednesday, I watched as Ezra Kills qualified to face me at Bulletproof 7 for the championship. And then this Sunday, I'll either be watching Hell in a Cell or reacting to it, and I'll probably be putting a preview and prediction video up on this channel. And then probably a reaction video as well, since I did not put out a reaction video to, I believe it was SummerSlam. Whichever one it was. Or Night of Champions. Night of Champions, that's what it was. And probably because that night, at Night of Champions, I ended up watching the pay-per-view, so that's probably why I didn't react to it, now that I think of it. So, 6 things we have to talk about. The final one is a question. I'm going to be bringing that back, but I'll be answering it. I won't be asking it. So today we talk about the tournament series, matchup premiere, which will come up this Sunday. Will be the second episode. The first episode was the bracket reveal. We will also talk about Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, their final fight possibly at Hell in a Cell. Mick Foley's surprise return this past Monday on Raw. Is the Rusev gimmick going too far? DHIG and Capital, along with Ezra Kills and Zach Hardy at Bulletproof 7. And also the question that we will be answering will be favorite to win tournament this season. So we're going to start off with tournament premiere, which is what we're also going to close out with. But we're going to start with the tournament premiere this Sunday, which the first episode, which I am eagerly wanting to get out to you guys. We will be having the first actual matchup competitions. And it will be in bracket 1. Hold on, I apologize. In bracket 1, we have Dustin Raymond going up against Alex. And in bracket 2, we have Randy Savage going up against Prophecy. Let me repeat that. Number 8, Dustin Raymond versus number 9, Alex. And number 8, Randy Savage versus number 9, Prophecy. No, there will not be a preview show to it. I guess maybe there will be this kind of I'm planning on, or I'm hoping that this tournament thing, I'm hoping that it will be able to go to about a half hour per episode, make it more like a TV series, but less than, not an hour. And I'll end up, doing, who's favored by what they're going to need to win, how they're going to win, and what they're going to need in order to be able to pick up a win. Because then sometimes, ratings are too low, and one person can have all 4 columns higher than the other person, and the other person, if the boosts do not work, then that other person ends up losing, and it'll be obvious by then. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this, I guess what I'm going to consider the series premiere of tournament. I put out the first episode, which was the bracket reveal about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And it seems like a pretty stacked bracket, and I'm looking forward to it. So keep your eye out for it this Sunday coming up on this channel. I don't know when I'll be able to put it out. Maybe probably by around 5 or 6 o'clock. I'll probably be watching a football game between that, so I'll apologize if there's Wait, what am I talking about? I'm not going to be filming in this area. I'm going to be filming the area right next to me. So, yeah, you get to see that area again. Yeah, just look forward to it. I'm looking forward to it, so I hope you guys are looking forward to it as well. So now we get into the actual wrestling-related topics. We're going to talk about first the Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins possible final fight Yes, you got my list right here. The possible final fight between Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins this Sunday at Hell in a Cell. Why do I think it's going to be the final fight? Because it's a Hell in a Cell match, for crying out loud. Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins have been pretty much feuding with one break in between, one month-long break in between, but for about, since June, so about 4 months, maybe 3 or 4 months, they've been fighting, and it's kind of time to refresh things. The problem that I think the WWE is going to run into with separating Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins is trying to find something for them to do. I mean, these two are working very well together. Now, what are you going to do now with Dean Ambrose? What are you going to do with Seth Rollins? I can tell you, you can focus Seth Rollins' attention solely in the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, but what about Dean Ambrose? Who else does he want to get revenge on? You know, I mean, you can have somebody, like, attack him and start a feud, but you know what? Who's going to be able to do that? Who's got this grudge against Dean Ambrose? And who would be able to fit the mold as to filling Seth Rollins' shoes as to Dean Ambrose? I mean, it's not like you can bring Fandango into this rivalry because nobody's going to be interested. And it's not going to bring any interest to the thing. You may think it's going to bring interest into, let's say, Fandango if you use him or someone related, or someone along the lines of him. It's not going to bring interest into his character. It's not going to bring interest into anybody's character. It's just going to bring less interest into both characters and into the storyline that you have developing at that moment in time. And, you know, with Seth Rollins, it's kind of easier because he's got that Money in the Bank briefcase, so you can have him focus solely on the WWE Championship and just keep picking up win after win after win every week, and then lead that towards whenever he cashes it in. And then maybe you can have Dean Ambrose fight with somebody else. I don't know who would fit that mold of Seth Rollins to Dean Ambrose, but, you know, somebody who could, let's say, attack someone and start a feud with them. And I mean, by them, I mean, by someone and them, I mean Dean Ambrose. Or Dean Ambrose can, you know, attack somebody and turn into a heel. But, you know, I mean, he's working better as a face now, don't get me wrong, but he could work pretty good as a heel, I can tell. Remember Jon Moxley? Of course you don't, because you're just a WWE fan. You're a fan of just the WWE, let me rephrase that. So, that's going to be the trouble that the WWE will run into. They will run into who's going to be able to fill the shoes of Seth Rollins to Dean Ambrose, and who's going to be able to fill the shoes of Dean Ambrose to Seth Rollins. So, who's going to be able to be the next Seth Rollins in Dean Ambrose's perspective, and who's going to be able to be the next Dean Ambrose in Seth Rollins' perspective? You never know with the WWE. They can be great one day, and they can be terrible the next. So, I don't know what else to say. I'm more interested in this Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins feud while we're going on, and the WWE will surprise me one day with where they elect to go in this rivalry when they're going to break it up. Maybe a Dean Ambrose versus Roman Reigns feud when he comes back. I guess I could see that working. But then again, you'd have to turn either Dean Ambrose or Roman Reigns as a heel, and you're probably going to want to turn Roman Reigns as a heel. You're going to want to turn Dean Ambrose as a heel because you're going to want Roman Reigns to be the face because the WWE wants him to be their next guy. They've been building him up, and so now they got to take a step back. But you know, there are things that, you know, since time has passed, even though we really hated it at the time, we've forgotten a lot about it, and so it's going to be like, oh yeah, it's been that long. So, like, when Daniel Bryan returns, which should be soon, you'll be like, oh, wow, oh, yeah, it's been that long. I never noticed it. Because you've been so booked into, let's say, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins or something like that. Or you've been hating Raw to the point where you haven't watched it, so you haven't really cared about Daniel Bryan because you haven't really had to worry about wrestling or think about wrestling. You know, Bad News Barrett should be coming back sooner or later. You know, who else? I mean, we're getting towards the end of the year, so that means the Royal Rumble will be coming up. Survivor Series, which, you know, the WWE doesn't really put much attention into as their fourth largest pay-per-view of the year. So, what do you want me to say? I don't have anything to say about this. This final fight will have to... What the fuck am I saying? don't know what the fuck I'm saying. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going on to a different topic or whatever. This is probably not going to be a half hour long, but I'm going to try to see what I can do. Next up is the Mick Foley return. Surprise return at Raw. Mick Foley interfered to tell Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose while they were in a confrontation that Hell in a Cell will make their career. It'll make or break their career. Dean Ambrose looks ready. Seth Rollins, I guess, looks ready, but he's favoring Dean Ambrose, and there's nothing much more to say about Mick Foley there. So, we're gonna go on and go into the next topic, which is also not gonna take too long. It's the Rusev gimmick going too far. I'm gonna cut this short, and this is definitely not gonna be a half-hour wrestling podcast. But the Rusev gimmick, I think, is going too far. From the American flag to kicking, dressed up guys as soldiers, or guys dressed up as soldiers, and then trying to tear down the American flag, and then Big Show tearing down the Russian flag. And if the Russian flag incident was actually real, then the WWE is very convincing. If it wasn't, then the WWE is very convincing. And that's all I really have to say about that. I think it's going too far. I think they need to take it down a notch. I think, Americans are loving this because it's, America versus Russia, so it's America versus Soviet Russia. And, no, that's German. I was about to say Guten Tag, whatever. But I think it's going too far. I think they need to take it a step down, not involve the flag too much, because even though it's a piece of linen or cotton, in this case a giant piece of linen or cotton, it still symbolizes a whole country, and it's surprising that linen or cloth or cotton or whatever the flags are made out of, polyester, I don't know, whatever they are, it's weird that I'm gonna use linen as an example. It's strange how linen can be the symbol of an entire country. If you ever thought about it that way, it's pretty surprising. Just like money, it's not actually made out of paper, but I'm still using the loophole of, money does grow on trees. It's made of paper. Paper is made from wood, and wood is in trees. Where else are you gonna get wood? Yeah, it's not really made of paper. Paper is like one of the least things it's made out of. It's more like colored dye and cotton or cloth or whatever. It's just really, really thin cloth. It's weird how little things made out of little everyday things can symbolize a country / the entire fucking planet. The economic system is dependent on cloth. We pay people with cloth. Don't get that through your minds. Don't grab a raggedy old rag from your kitchen and decide to pay for a Big Mac with that at McDonald's. No. Our economy relies on cloth. Why the fuck am I talking about this? This is a wrestling podcast. This is not a podcast about the economy. I'm losing my shit, guys. Anyway, let's get into the next topic, which is DHIG versus Capital and Ezra and Kills versus Zach Hardy at Bulletproof 7. I don't want to give too much away. I don't really know too much about what's happening, and also I'm not the centerpiece for USW on this channel. I'm not on it as often as Chase is, but you'd have to ask him. I guess I'd ask him. Maybe he'll put it in a question and answer thing, or he'll talk about it in his preview and prediction video. So that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Now my question: favorite in the tournament to win the tournament. Let me get out my cheat sheet here. Alright, let me read you the performers in here. Zach Hardy, Cannon, Majigeta, Western Light, Yo-Yo Joe, Prophecy, Capital, Lone Wolf, Derek Carter, Alex, Chris Ross, Dwayne Porter, Dustin Raymond, Anarchy, Ash, and Titanfall, those are the representatives for USW. For the WWE, John Cena, Randy Orton, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Undertaker, Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Randy Savage, Batista, Edge, Jeff Hardy, Big Show, The Ultimate Warrior, and Brock Lesnar. One of the number one seeds, bracket 1 is Chris Ross, and bracket 2 is The Rock. So, let's see. I guess tied for first place in the rankings or Chris Ross was first place in the rankings wise. He's at 388 points. The Rock came with 383. Chris Ross looks pretty stacked except for the speed and charisma. And The Rock, The Rock is in the 90s for all three of them. Oh boy. How did The Rock tie for second? With Lone Wolf. Oh, Lone Wolf could be a favorite as well. He's high in the 90s. Oh, but Lone Wolf... Oh, he's only got one. He's got speed over The Rock. And Chris Ross... The Rock... Wow. The Rock has better attributes in all four than Chris Ross. Man, yeah, it's gonna be a tie between Lone Wolf and The Rock. I'm gonna say, yeah, I'm gonna go with The Rock winning the entire tournament. And if he gets eliminated in the first round, then I'm going to be really pissed off about that. So, yeah, my favorite is The Rock to defeat Brock Lesnar in the first round and go on to win the championship altogether. Let me just put this thing back. So there we go. Let's see. The Rock should have to beat Brock Lesnar and then everybody else in bracket 2, and then whoever beats everybody else in bracket 1 to win the championship. So my favorite is The Rock. If I'm going to pick up a backup, I'm going to probably say Lone Wolf. So, that was it. That was my half-hour wrestling podcast that lasted just over half an hour. So, we put in... we put in 1/4 of an hour into this podcast. So, you want to just talk about something? Oh, John Cena, Randy Orton. Why not talk about that? John Cena versus Randy Orton. I've got John Cena winning that because Randy Orton's... No, wait. I got John Cena winning that. I think Randy Orton's going to try to have somebody interfere, but John Cena's going to overcome the odds. And what the fuck am I doing? Hey guys, thank you for watching. That was my half-hour wrestling podcast, episode number 5. Thank you for watching. Remember to like, favorite, and subscribe for more. I'm Zach Hardy, signing off. Watch tournament this Sunday. Thank you very much for watching. See you later. My name is Zach Hardy, signing out.